Thanks for joining us for this episode of Coffee Court. My name is Rona Nahabwe, and with me, with the director from Uganda Free Zones Authority, who will basically be talking to us about the mandate of a free zone, because we all know what a free zone, or most people might not know what a free zone is. Usually, free zones for any economic state are the nation drivers for economic and regional trade, as well as international trade. They also attract foreign indirect investment. So such free zones are really pertinent issues that Ugandans or any of you there might want to know. You're welcome, and say hello to the viewers.
Thank you, Rona. My name is Rebecca Nalumo. I work with Uganda Free Zones Authority, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for joining us. So what is a free zone? What is the role of a free zone?
Maybe before I start with what a free zone is, Uganda Free Zones Authority was set up in 2014. We are a government institution that was set up with the sole objective of promoting export-oriented investments and job creation. So the role of the institution, if I may summarize it, is to enhance export growth, promote industrial-related businesses, and with the purpose of creating employment. But also related to that, the bigger role is to address the trade deficit. By trade deficit, we know that as a country we import more than we export. In fact, we import high-value capital goods and consumer goods and export primary products. So our key role in economic development is to enhance value addition, processing, and specifically promote export processing and production in this scheme so that we enhance export. Of course, the role of export promotion of value addition also comes with technology enhancement. It comes with a technology that may come in through foreign direct investment, but it also comes with a skilling aspect. So we specifically promote export, we facilitate creation of jobs, we facilitate skilling, technology enhancement, and last but not least is the role we play in enhancing local content to ensure that the free zones in the areas in which they are set up either source raw materials from here or they buy from here to promote national or local content. So in that aspect, we also promote linkages, we also promote both backward and also we enhance the forward linkages. So if I may summarize who we are as an institution, we promote exports by one, ensuring that we establish as government, we establish industrial facilities or production units where we have the private sector set up and export. But at the same time, we promote the private sector. It's not only the role of government to set up this industrial infrastructure. You can also have a private sector that may wish to set up the free zone, so they can also establish, they can develop these industrial facilities or production units, but also provide utilities in order to promote exports. So in that case, if you're a private company, we regulate you. So that's the other role we do. So if you're a private company and you want to set up in a free zone, we regulate. So you come and you register with us, we license you, and then you operate in a free zone. But we also market. Like you said, many people may not know that this opportunity exists. So we market, we create awareness about the scheme in the country so that we can have more free zones established, or we can have more private companies take up this opportunity. Then lastly, but not least, is the advisory role we give to government. So we advise government on enabling policy environment, but also non-policy environment. So with that understanding of who we are, I want to define what a free zone is. When we say a free zone, when we say a special economic zone, when we say an export processing zone, this is simply an area that enables you to import duty-free so that you add value and export without any taxes at importation and also exportation. So there are various types of these schemes. We have the free zone, which of course we're talking about, but there are so many other types. You can have an export processing zone, like the name. It's for value addition in order to export. You can have a free port. A free port is largely for trade purposes, which you can either set up like at the airport, or a border point, or a lake or river port to trade, to provide logistics, to do assembling, to do storage. But the whole idea is whatever is imported does not attract duty with the purpose of re-export. So in summary, a free zone is an area that can permit somebody to do business without paying taxes at importation in order to export.
Speaking of businesses, what are some of the sectors you have aligned as the free zone that you targeted that would be able to bring us income and revenue?
The sectors that we prioritize in the free zone mirror the sectors that have been prioritized in the country as a whole. So number one on the list is agriculture and agro-processing. Agriculture and agro-processing, because as a country we have a comparative but also a competitive advantage in it. And the reason we promote it is because we know that over 60% of Ugandans are involved in one way or another in agricultural activities. So it's a sector where we can benefit both in terms of employment directly but also indirectly through the linkages with other industries. So we promote agro-processing. We also promote mineral processing. Mineral processing because we know we have lots of minerals that are still undeveloped, unutilized. So we promote adding value to our own mineral resources and then exporting them in finished form. So if you're mining the gold, we want you to process and sell the necklaces or sell watches. So we want you to add value to our own resources which you've mined in order to export. Of course, manufacturing as a whole, we promote manufacturing in a range of sectors. You can do the food processing we've talked about. You can do dairy processing, dairy products. You can export ice cream. You can export ghee, cheese. You can export meat, beef, processed beef, sausages, and all that we promote. We promote fish processing, so that is in the line of food processing. But also the other sectors in manufacturing, like textile and apparel. So the whole idea about that sector is we want you to come into the free zone and export garments, finished products. We don't want you to come and export lint, process cotton into lint and export. So we have the textile and apparel. We have the leather processing. You can add value to a leather, not export the wet blue, but want you to export footwear, leather footwear, or bags, or belts. So manufacturing across sectors, packaging, whether you're doing packaging, whether you're assembling agricultural equipment or machinery, those are some of the sectors. So in summary, we do agro-processing as number one, top of the agenda. Then manufacturing, under manufacturing, we talked about mineral processing and any other value addition in that sector. And also, just for emphasis, is on services. Services like logistics, transport and logistics are very core to a free zone. The reason we promote those kind of services in a free zone is we want to have ready-made free zones, that if you have companies that are operating in the free zone, you should be able to attract companies or operators who are providing transport and logistics services. For instance, the Balores, they can come and set up in a free zone and provide transport and logistics services so that you have on-site services. So you can have the logistics, you can have the ICT services provided in a free zone, you can have brokerage, and a range of export-oriented services.
Do we have specific statistics to how much you have exported through these free zones?
Yes, we do have the statistics. If I may give an example of maybe five years ago, say in 2017-18, our exports were below 60 million US dollars. But over the years, we've been seeing positive growth in export to about 154 million. Then in 2020-21 alone, the exports in the zone stood at $1.25 billion. So in that year alone, free zones contributed 23% to total exports. In financial year 21-22, however, we had some policy challenges, and the exports in that year were about 67.8 million. But the positive message I want to tell the listeners or those who are watching us is that even much as the export reduced in that year, we had a positive trade balance. We had more exports going out than imports that came into the free zones. So we had a positive trade balance.
Okay. So what does it take for one to have a developer's license to operate in these free zones? What is the criteria?
So for one to get a developer's license, like the word develop, when we say a developer's license, you are the entity, you are the company, you are the enterprise that has to invest in the industrial facilities, that has to invest in the production units. By industrial facilities, I mean, if you're a developer, you're the one who has to show us the land, where you're going to locate. So that land ideally should be acquired land. So you're the one who has to develop the horizontal infrastructure. You're the one who has to bring the water on site. You have to bring the power. You have to bring the ICT. On-site utilities is on you. So we refer to you as a developer. You're the one who has to build the vertical infrastructure. You're the one who has to put up the warehouses, the production units, the office block, all the vertical related infrastructure. So we refer to that person as a developer. So what does it take? Of course, you have to have a site. The site has to be in a very economically competitive area. It shouldn't endanger the environment, and it shouldn't have any security risk. So the site is key. And then once we come and inspect your area for suitability, and this we do in collaboration with other government institutions like the Revenue Authority, we work with the Ministry of Lands, we work with the National Environment to ensure that there is no environmental negative impact. So once you have that site and we do the preliminary inspections, then you apply to us. The application fees are $250, and we do an evaluation. Our interest for a developer really is to show that the companies that are going to locate in your area are going to produce for export. So we want you to give us a business plan. And in this business plan, you clearly map out how much you want to invest. But the most important criteria we look at is export and also employment, as well as the backward linkages. So once we've completed that process, then we subject that evaluation further to the Ministry of Finance, because that area has to be gazetted by a statutory instrument. So the minister facilitates the gazettement through signing of a statutory instrument. And once that area has been declared, then we issue with a license.
That now draws me to challenges that you might experience as the authority of free zones. I think last year was at one of your engagements with some of your suppliers, and there was something that was highlighted, that there is an infrastructure problem in regards to people that have to bring into free zones. What is the gravity of the challenges you face as an authority?
I would say that the challenges as we face as an institution are largely, right now, have been largely on the policy side. Okay. Policy means that trying to harmonize the way the free zones are implemented in Uganda with the region and also the global understanding. So there have been challenges in terms of potential investors who want to come into the scheme, and their understanding is that, of course, if you're producing for export, and in the event that you don't have an international market, you can sell your products here. So on the policy side, the biggest challenge has been that the scheme restricts you to sell only 20%. And that 20% has to be in the East African community. So with the restriction of that 20%, it has affected those companies, even the locals actually, who have potential to export, but would wish to sell more than 20% into into the market. So that has been one of the challenges. The good news is as the region, as the East African community, last year, end of last year, we came up with additional schemes that will be more flexible. We are now adopting the special economic zones and also specifically new schemes that will allow those who produce in these schemes to be able to sell in the local market. But when they sell in the local market, there will be no restriction on how much. So the 20% will be no more. Their only requirement will be that when you sell, if you sell 50%, then you have to pay the taxes. So I would say that that has been one of the policy challenge we've had, but it has been addressed. And as a country, we've been, as a country, also as an institution, we've been working very closely with line ministries, other stakeholders to adopt this reform. So the discussions have started. We've done regulatory impact assessments, and it's pointing to, yes, we need the special economic zones. Why? Other partner states have adopted them, but more importantly, within the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, one of the vehicles to enhance exports into that market, the Africa region, will be through the special economic zone. So that policy issue, I would say in the next 1 or 2 years will be no more because we're adopting a new scheme.
That reminds me, recently the PS said that they are going to revise, tax incentives for these foreign investors. Now, if you're giving someone a benefit of the doubt that maybe in 5 years I'm going to have a plan where I would train, Ugandans to benefit from the free zone, and then it doesn't come to pass, how do you arrive to a decision of revoking the license and terminating, because then there won't be any development in the country?
We in free zones, like one of our major or our main functions or responsibilities, we monitor, we supervise. There's an aspect of that is the aspect of regulation also, to ensure that when you give us your business plan and say, I'm going to create 1,000 jobs, I'll create the jobs. And every year you have to give us an annual performance report to show that, yes, those jobs were created or they were not created with justifiable reasons, because, sometimes the economy, there may be changes in your customers. So we work with you, we monitor to ensure that you comply with the commitments on jobs, on exports, to ensure that you do not abuse the tax incentive that we've given you. So every year you give us your reports, and the data you provide us has to be accurate. In fact, if it's inaccurate, that's one of the measures we take to revoke your license. So requirement, you have to give us your reports. We come and inspect to verify the reports that you've given us on a quarterly basis, showing your performance, showing how much you've invested, showing how many people you're skilling, to ensure that as a country we benefit. So we need accurate data, we need reports. If you don't give us that kind of information, it's one of the justifications we'll take to revoke your license.
Any call to local investors to embrace this free zone activity?
Yes, I would like to invite the private sector out there. That, of course, as government, we are establishing this industrial infrastructure to set up these economic zones. But even the private sector out there, as long as you're adding value for export, you can come to us and take up this opportunity. The advantage you have in operating in a free zone, you have dedicated services in addition to the fiscal incentives that we talked about. So it's not just setting up in a government-owned free zone. The companies we have in these zones right now are private. So you come to us, we shall facilitate you through registration, we shall facilitate you through the engagements with customs, engagements with immigration and any other government institution, so that you have best service operating in a free zone. We want to tell the private sector out there that the market is there. We have new markets that have been with the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. They are markets. So we are looking for private companies that we can facilitate so that they add value and manufacture in these zones and export. So let them come to us. We are located on a communication house floor 6. We also have our website, www.freezones.go.ug. Please come physically. Sometimes the website may have information, but there is that information that you can come through interacting with us. We are very open, and we've been able to facilitate companies that are with us and also those that are coming. So please come to us so that we can facilitate you. And you have the best experience of operating in an environment where you have dedicated government officers to facilitate you. Thank you.
Any parting remarks as we conclude?
The parting remarks is that the free zone is here, and it is here to stay. The legal and policy environment is continuously improving. So we want you to come and work with us so that we develop the country together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for allowing to speak to us. And of course, once the public free zone is complete, this is a big call to Ugandans who would like to venture in industrialization, agro-processing, or they have the capability to attain this space in the free zone. My name is Joanna Nahabwe. Until next time.